It's Gerald Flynn Walsh. This is my call to action speech for our communications class. With me is my mudda. I've got my friends Zeke and Evan on FaceTime. And as always, my beautiful fiance Jen is here as well.
Hello.
And she's holding the camera. And we're just going to go right into it. My call to action speech is about phone use while behind the wheel. So here we go. If there was one culprit responsible for 1.4 million car crashes annually, you think that there would be something done to stop this menace. 200,000 car crashes are caused each year by texting alone. It is illegal to drive intoxicated. It's common sense that you don't read a book while driving a car. It should be illegal for any phone use behind the wheel. I know that you know the problem exists because I think if you were honest, you would admit that you would probably be a little guilty of using your phone behind the wheel as well. I know I am. A vast majority of individuals would admit that they are guilty of operating their phone while driving. I think that we all agree that drunk driving is illegal for a good reason. In 2015, 10,265 people died due to drunk driving and alcohol-related incidences. We look at that number and find it shocking. But of course, we would never drive drunk, right? It's something that you know is wrong. You don't want to be part of that statistic. But as the upstanding citizens that we are, we can acknowledge that we are part of the culture that is obsessed with our cell phones. And do indeed sneak a peek of our phones while we're driving. 1.4 million car accidents is huge. The scariest part of that statistic is that we are personally helping the culture behind it. And we are ignoring the potential consequences because the majority of us are as guilty as a drunk driver. Even though that it is a growing problem on our roads, there is little being done to prevent it. There are options that are available. There are different cell phone companies that have made software that enables phones to recognize when you are driving in your car, and it will immediately put your incoming call to voicemail, or it will text the person back and say, this person didn't get that call right now, they're driving. They'll get it once they stop. However, there's zero cell phone companies that will charge their customers an extra fee for that. The only feasible solution for this problem is going to be personal decision making. If people find it impossible not to play on their phone while they're driving, then they need to find someone else to drive. When you're coming home from the bars, you find a designated driver. If you can't help but stare at your phone, you need to have a designated driver. Carpool if it's that important to you. The biggest thing I feel that needs to change, however, though, is law enforcement needs to really push through and make it so there are heavier fines for being caught with your cell phone use. The first time, heavy fine, and you get some points taken away. Second time that you get pulled over or cause an accident, or any time you get pulled over due to cell phone use, immediate license suspension. People need to be paranoid about using their phone in their car, and they're just not. People need to be scared that they're going to get caught using their phone because they shouldn't be using their phone while they're driving. Only way we're going to get people to drive respectfully with awareness and care is to put the fear of consequence in their minds. Nobody wants to have their license taken away. People should be worried that cell phone use can do just that. A quick story of Sarah was going to school one day, and there were 4 words that changed her family's life for the rest of her short life, unfortunately. There was a man driving down the road going the opposite way who was sending the text, "I'll be right there." These 4 words would turn Sarah into one of those terrifying statistics. This is her car after that text message. Just because that man had to send that text to his boss, to whoever, Had to let them know that they'd be right there. She's gone now. Sarah died. Her parents didn't get to see her after school. She never got to come home after school because of texting and driving. Turned her car into that. If the driver would have just waited another few minutes before taking the cell phone out of his pocket, I mean, you have to, I have to implore you to imagine if you were Sarah or that person now that has to live the rest of his life knowing that he took her life. The action I want you to take is to stop. I do not be one of those 1.4 million accidents each year. Acknowledge that is a growing problem in our society. I want you to understand the potential consequences of being pulled over for cell phone use. I want you to understand that the text message or phone call can wait. I want you to remember Sarah, just on her way to school. She never made it home that night. And the driver that has to live the rest of his life knowing that he took an innocent life because he had to use his phone behind the wheel. Be aware of yourself and actions behind the wheel. Speak up when you see others taking place when they're taking part of such a dangerous act. Do it for the people that don't make it home, like Sarah. Thank you.
Yay! Woo, 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 woo. Good job!